afternoon. I'm here to give you a brief overview of using online interactive rubrics. It's a new feature in Blackboard 9, one of the latest features. It's a really cool tool, and I hope you will enjoy it as you watch the demonstration. The nice thing about the tool is that you can use it across disciplines. So it's not discipline specific. You can also use it for your online classes as well as for your face-to-face classes. I have just a short comic here. It says rubrics and the secret to grading. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll read it to you. The person is saying, rubrics? I never give my students rubrics. That's equivalent to cheating. I might as well write their essays for them. College students should understand that they're expected to perform certain undisclosed outcomes. The point of learning is to keep them guessing about the criteria, so they'll work harder in their desperation not to fail. Stress facilitates success. Besides, if I gave them a rubric, I'd have to admit that I decide their grades with a dartboard. Now, how many of you grade like that? Nobody wants to admit it. So I want to show you how to use the rubric tool in Blackboard, and this should alleviate some of the dartboard grading. So rubrics are as easy as 1, 2, 3. The first thing that you do is you create a rubric, and then you associate that rubric with an assignment. The next thing is that you score your student work, and the third thing is display the scores in the Grade Center. The ways that you can use the rubric in Blackboard are, you can use it with the assignment tool, you can use it for graded discussion board forums and threads, you can also use it for the interactive tools like blogs, wikis, and journals. You can use it for certain test items like the essay, short answer, and file responses. And then, if you teach online, and if you don't do any of these, you can use it just associate it with the grade column in the Grade Center. And that's what I want to demonstrate today. So I'm in Blackboard, and what I want to do is to create a sample rubric. So you will go to Course Tools, and under Course Tools, you'll scroll down to Rubrics. Before I show the sample, I want to show you just what a rubric looks like in Blackboard as you create one. And I'll show you this one that's called Dynamic Instructions. So basically, you will insert the name, the description of the rubric, and this is where you will add your levels of achievement. You'll also add your criteria. So this is whatever you may want it to be. Basically, the levels of criteria before were novice up to achiever. But I changed these to ineffective, competent, and proficient, as well as our criteria. You can change these. You can also see that there are descriptions that are included to give the students some idea of how their assignments will be graded. And then there are points associated as well. So to create a rubric, you would just click on Create Rubric. And again, you would add the name, the description, add your rows, add your columns. There are also different rubric types: no points, points, point range, or percentage, depending on what you want to do. But we're not going to go into that detail, but I want to skip to the rubric that I'm going to use today. And it's this one, the initial introduction. So there are just 4 things here. It's for an introduction in the classroom, and I will ask my students to basically state their name, their experience with technology, and then state something interesting about themselves. That's it. And as you can see, I have 0 if they didn't state it, and 1 point if they did state it. I don't have any descriptors here. So the next thing I want to do is go to the Grade Center. And in the Grade Center, I have already created the column for scoring this activity. It's right here, Sample Rubric. When I open it up, go to Edit Column Information, and I want to attach the rubric to this column. So I'll scroll down, Add Rubric, and I want to select a rubric since it was already created. And I want the initial introduction, so I select it and submit. And now it's asking me if I want to assign the rubric's maximum points, because those points may differ from the points that I've already associated with this grade column. I'll click OK. And it's 3 points. So here's my rubric. If I want to view it, I can do that quickly just by clicking here. And it just shows me what it's going to look like. What's nice about including the rubric when you create the column, or either when you associate it with an assignment or with a test, is that your students have an idea of what's expected of them. So that's very important. And that's actually one of the best practices. I'm going to go ahead and there's one more other thing. Show rubrics to students. I want them to see it, so I will click yes. Yes with the rubric scores. And then click submit. So now I have a rubric associated with this column. I've asked for a volunteer in the office to do an activity with me. I've asked Raksha to do an assignment, and her assignment is to introduce herself, and she's going to tell me her name, as well as her experience with technology, and the third thing, something interesting about herself. So if you can stand, Raksha.
And I'm doing this as myself.
As yourself, yes.
My name is Raksha Patel. My experience with technology is that I had used it heavily throughout my hybrid courses here at TCC. Something interesting about myself, I have gone skydiving and will probably not do it again.
Okay, great. So she's introduced herself. So as the instructor, I could have the rubric open, right? I could have had that open while she was doing it. And let's say she's Jane's student. We're going to make believe that she's Jane today. And I'll go to View Grade Details. And view the rubric right here. So the rubric opens up. Remember I said this is interactive. So this is the really cool thing about the rubric. So did Raksha state her name? Yes? So she gets a point. Did she, and we can just say great job. How's that? Did she state her experience with technology? Okay. And we'll just do great job again. But you see, you can add the feedback as you go. And then did she tell us something interesting about herself? Yes. Okay. So, as you can see, it scored it. 3 points out of 3 points. I have an option to change the number of points if I needed to go back and make any changes. I could provide additional feedback here. And I click Save. And the only thing I need to do is click Save again. And once I do that, return to the Grade Center. And her score is posted. It's just that easy. So that's an overview of the interactive rubric in Blackboard. And that's just using the Grade Center columns. Also, I just wanted to point out a few more things in the handout that I gave you. On the 3rd page, it talks about how interactive rubrics are linked to good teaching practices. So you can see that the tool provides an opportunity for faculty to communicate expectations with students. It also provides an opportunity for students to be engaged in their work. They have the instructions as they're actually completing their assignments. And it also allows the opportunity for students to get prompt feedback on their work. And then on the back, to learn more about interactive rubrics, there are some frequently asked questions that I included. But I do invite you to come to one of the workshops on rubrics, and you're going to love it. I've been using it all semester in my class, in one of my classes, and also is part of my what I call a mini PGP for advanced faculty, the adjunct faculty advancement program. But I'm loving it, and it's saving me a lot of time. So thank you.